The Final Four is set as we welcome you into another episode of Six Rotations. That smiley face, he's Mick Haley. I'm Daniel Gillman. Happy to be with you. And as always, we are sponsored by SNA Sports. Better equipment for a better game. If you are in Tampa, make sure to stop by, say hi to Mick and I, try to check out SNA Sports. What Amy and the family have over there is something really special and a great bond that they have with all of their suppliers. So just got to get that out of the way, Mick. We want to open the stage. We had a Thursday. We had a Saturday. There were no sweeps on Saturday, which to me just feels so pure. It was such a good regional stage of volleyball. And now we have four mammoths, behemoths left in Wisconsin, Texas, preceded Nebraska, Pittsburgh. It's going to be a great Thursday night.
Yeah, really there were 8 teams that could be there, and they played like it, and it was really fun to watch. Maybe except for the 3:00 in the morning one, but other than that, I fell asleep, stayed awake, had to watch it the next morning again to make sure I saw it right.
Yeah, we had almost 300,000 viewers watch Penn State, Wisconsin. Nearly 290,000 watch Tennessee, Texas. The numbers are really, really good. I can't wait to see what the numbers look like for the regional finals, let alone what might be an all-time Final Four with all of these blue bloods, right? You can kind of call Pittsburgh a blue blood now, right? 3 straight Final Fours. What do you think? Let's start there. Let's start Pittsburgh. Our first match of the day on Saturday at noon Eastern. Louisville looks very, very strong. Iko Jones goes 5-0-5 in the first set. They take it by 2, dominate the second. And what did you see from the third on? I mean, Pittsburgh just demolished Louisville in the 5th set. They were up 8-2 out of the jump on the switch. They won 15-7. Torrey Stafford had 18 kills, Babcock 16. What'd you see?
I saw Babcock. When Babcock finally got her serve going, she totally took the game away from Louisville, and they couldn't get it back, and they broke DeBeer. I didn't think I'd ever see that. They targeted DeBeer and they broke her. And she's a great competitor, but she just couldn't handle all of that and carry the whole team on her shoulders. And it was just an unbelievable turnaround, the way Pittsburgh rallied behind Babcock's serving. It was really amazing to me.
Well, Pittsburgh swept Washington State on Thursday, and Louisville nearly was reverse swept, and Creighton came back, and it was the second set was a wild blowout for Creighton, and DeBeer got pulled. It was like 21-10, and DeBeer got pulled in the regional semifinal. Then they come back. Creighton nearly pulls away with the 4th set, and then finally does on a roof after being down early. Louisville looked like they were going to win it in 4. Then we saw Louisville's bench come up big in the 5th set against Creighton. They didn't quite necessarily have that same magic on Saturday. So now in that rematch, in that revenge situation for Dan Fisher, Pittsburgh, the lone ACC representative, and I apologize, my voice a little hoarse here, but it's
That's
that time
because
of the
you were
year,
yelling
man.
for your teams. That's right.
I know. I wish it's that time of the year where everyone's got to be coming down with a little bit. And so let's move on. All right. Setting the stage, Arkansas, Kentucky on Thursday, an epic 5-setter, the first win for the Razorbacks over Kentucky in 11 years. It took Kentucky 6 set points to win the first set. Then we saw, and I wrote this down, I said, we need Arkansas to win this second set because, Mick, it was an awkward time zone timing situation on Thursday. If Kentucky swept Arkansas, we had like a full hour and a half with no volleyball. But the Razorbacks obliged. We had a 5th setter that ran right into Wisconsin, Penn State. Wisconsin obviously took that in 4. And so Arkansas makes their first regional final. They go up against a juggernaut in Nebraska who absolutely demolished Georgia Tech. And so what do you see from this 4-setter? Because Nebraska looked like it was going to be another ho-hum sweep, didn't it? And then Arkansas kind of reared up a little bit in the 4th.
I think Jason Watson does such a good job preparing Arkansas, and that was kind of a 4-year preparation to get to that point. First of all, a lot of people thought Kentucky would take Arkansas out real quick, and that didn't happen. In fact, Kentucky finally got exposed, but Why Rutherford couldn't perform, I don't know. She just couldn't get the ball on the floor, and it was too bad for Kentucky because they count on her for 4 or 5 points per set, and that didn't happen. Arkansas was the beneficiary of that, and then they go in and didn't back off against Nebraska at all. Really, I was impressed with players other than the ones we've been watching and hearing about. I thought the middle blocker was extremely good. I thought Carpenter was really good for Arkansas, and those kids stepped up. Arkansas walked out of there with their head up held high, and have got to be proud of the effort they put out.
Well, that's good timing because I was going to talk about Taylor Head. She had a really smooth finish. She had a very bumpy start, as did all of the Razorbacks pretty much in the first two sets. Arkansas comes back to win the third, and then it looked like Nebraska was just going to have a handy 4-set win, and it was a huge ace fest. Jill Gillman had a couple aces in the fourth set. Zoe Evans came up big with a key block late. I think Arkansas had 8 aces, if I have that correct. And yep, 8 aces. They have the most in the field. And so they'll finish with that. And Jill Gillen just didn't have enough late. 14 kills, 10 errors, same number of errors and swings as Head with over 50. It was the Merritt Beeson show, Mick. And I'm so excited to see this former Gator. She nearly had a triple double, right? 11 digs, 8 blocks, 19 kills, and Harper Murray. When Merritt and Harper are in the back row, Mick, I think I texted you this. I texted a bunch of people. I said, in that rotation, it is unbelievable, right? It's almost unstoppable. And Nebraska fans have always kind of been on us, right? They love to talk about how much we hate them. It's not. It's pure admiration for me. So they can say whatever. You guys can say whatever you want. I also need to say this, Mick. Curse Schmerz, right? We have 3 of the 4 Final Four teams that we had on this show this year. We only had 7 or 8 guests. 3 of them, right? We've got Bergen Riley with Nebraska. We've got Olivia Babcock with Pittsburgh. And then we've got Halter Phillips with Texas. And so I am just happy to see some representation of 6 rotations.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful year, but how about the freshman class across the country? I mean, we've seen so many freshmen leading and scoring from setters in very, very precarious positions, having to lead their teams, to outside hitters, to middle blockers. I mean, this year's freshman class coming in certainly represented at a high level and fun to watch. I would go back to the Nebraska match, though. What I enjoyed most about Nebraska was the physical hustle on defense of the Nebraska players. I mean, I've never seen in women's volleyball so many bodies flying for balls and getting them, not just putting in the effort. Oh yeah, Jobo
Boy, who
was
was bleeding.
unbelievable.
It was
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah. She reminded me, honestly, of a player that played for UCLA men's team many years ago, Toshi Toyota. Would fly around like that and make the digs that she made. I was quite impressed. I was fun for me to watch.
All right, let's move on and head out to Madison, where Sam Gore and Emily Eman had us taken care of. It was a great broadcast. It was a great match. Wisconsin, just the better team. I think it was 15-4 in blocks. And despite Oregon taking the third in extra points, this is what I thought that the Arkansas-Nebraska fourth set would be like, where Wisconsin just went on that powerful run late in the fourth set. They would wind up taking it. Franklin 20 kills, Mimi Collier 20 kills. It was a heartbreaking service error to lose the match, and that's always hard to see. We'll talk about heartbreaking ways to end it with Texas Stanford as well. One thing that stood out to me in this Mick, was Georgia Murphy, top level libero, top level. I was really enjoying watching her play.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that have shown up for the tournament that we didn't see really the numbers during the season. But boy, when it got to be big game time, the big gamers came to play, and they came out of the woodwork. They're really some nice play by people we haven't talked about and haven't heard about all year.
And then we get to the final one. And yes, Mick, Thursday was very difficult to stay awake. I have to be completely honest. I was wavering hard. I watched the first set of Arizona State Stanford, and then I conked. I mean, it was not an easy task for me to stay awake. I know a lot of people. So what I did, I don't know about you guys at home, what I like to do is I've got YouTube TV. So I had it paused, recorded, woke up in the morning, didn't check my phone, and just watched the last 3 sets of that. So that was a lot more fun because that way I could fast forward through the commercials and I could skip through Eric Freed and Missy Whittemore. They did a great job. And then Saturday, I made sure we were staying up for this one, right? Texas, Stanford kind of put a little bit of a reputation on the line last week, Mick. I talked about how Maples is just one of the easier courts to play in, not quite a home court advantage. It felt like on the broadcast that there were more Texas fans than Stanford fans in terms of noise. And it was the only home team to lose on Saturday as Texas hit 340. What did you see? Take me through this match. Texas, I think, had 10 blocks to Stanford's 2.
Well, uncharacteristically, Texas came in really focused, and the first set made one hitting error. That set the tone for the whole match. They have constantly all year come in and gotten behind in the first set and been challenged in the first set and had to play catch up, and it's been exasperating to watch them kind of fumble the ball early. But they didn't do it this time. They were focused. They were ready to play. I thought O'Neal really set the tone, blocking in the middle, really caused Stanford some problems. But honestly, I just felt Texas had too many close matches all year and came in physically stronger and mentally more alert. I won't say disappointed, but I was unimpressed because Stanford hasn't done anything new all year. The same thing. And it's easy to prepare for that, to beat that team one time. And, Stanford had their way with Texas at Texas. Texas came back, didn't back down, made some errors, but didn't worry about them. I thought the freshman setter, Swindell, held up very nicely, delivered the ball nicely. I'm glad they recognized her in the awards for the regionals. But it was an interesting match. Rubin, I thought, played at the highest level for Stanford, and I just felt like they couldn't meet the effort that Texas put out, and it was a really nice effort. And the Texas libero, I thought, stood out. Holter stood out over all the liberos we saw in that match. I thought she was head and shoulders above, just simply in execution, not in flair or anything like that, just execution. And if you looked in her eyes, she just gave you that "we're coming at you" kind of look, and never backed off. Really a nice match.
I really just don't think that Stanford had that killer athlete in terms of a mental, right? It looks like Kendall
Yeah.
Kipp is such a good athlete. She just doesn't seem to have that Fecky edge or that plumber edge or that, I don't know, Stivrins. Like there's just some athletes where you're like, hey, we need four kills in these last 10 points. Like, can you get us all four? Stuff like that. And it just didn't look like Stanford did it at the end of the sets. And so that obviously cost him big time. And then Texas was huge with the block. And we saw Skinner go absolutely nuclear, 25-22 in that final set. Madison Skinner finishes with 24 kills, hitting 380. Stanford commits 14 service errors at home, Mick, in such a clutch match. And that first set was all Asia O'Neal. I think she had 6 kills, hit over 450, the team did in that opening set.
That's not unusual for Stanford, though. Their philosophy is to serve tough. And if you think about that, they played 4 sets. They had over 12, but their average is about 3 service errors per set, 2.5, 3. They maybe made one service error more than normal in that match, serving Texas tough. And the thing that won it for Texas is their serve receive did not break down. They maintained their serve receive. As I was looking at Stanford before this match started, it became apparent to me that I'd overlooked the fact that they're not using a backcourt specialist to take out one of the left sides. It's been Baird, the libero, and Rubin have been the 3 passers all year, and they've used hardly anybody else to receive serve. So again, there was another factor there that I thought they didn't have a chance to give anybody a break. They had to continue to keep those 3 in, and Texas took advantage of that, I thought.
All right, Mick, let's move ahead. I want you to give me your previews of these matches on Thursday. We are going to be in the Amalie Arena. I cannot wait. It is going to be a blast on the 14th. And the question is, who will move on to Sunday afternoon's final on ABC? Remember, it is Sunday at 3 o'clock, 3:30, something like that. 3 o'clock Eastern time. So they don't have the times out, it seems, for the semifinals yet. We know it'll be Nebraska-Pitt first. The number 1 overall seed gets that first match, and then Wisconsin-Texas. And Mick, this is just such a dream. It's just such a perfect matchup for volleyball fans, for the sport itself. I think it's going to live up to the hype. And I don't see it not being Wisconsin, Nebraska. I'm just going to hold firm with that pick. I want it. I would love Wisconsin, Pittsburgh. I'd love Wisconsin, Pittsburgh. I'd love Nebraska, Texas. I'd love Pitt, Texas. I don't think there's a matchup that I wouldn't enjoy on Sunday. That's the best part.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Babcock can show up before the third set. She has had trouble in the tournament with the first set and part of the second set. And it's interesting to watch. You almost want to root for the kid because she's trying. She misses this far. She misses over here. She makes the wrong choice there. And then all at once, it seems to come together for her. And it seems to start with when she bombs that top spin serve. When she hits that thing as hard as she can hit it and it goes in, it seems like the whole atmosphere of the team changes. Everything changes. So it's unusual for a freshman to have that much effect on their team. But she certainly is going to be a key if they're going to have a chance to beat Nebraska.
All right, talk to me about X's and O's here. And what do you find to be the keys? Obviously, we saw the blocks be so massive for both Wisconsin and Texas. I think that's what it's going to come down to. I don't see either team hitting over 200. I think this is going to be a double-digit block fest. It is going to have runs and turns and twists. But do you see many weaknesses in Wisconsin's game? No, right?
It's one of those things when they don't play, you just why you look at them and you think, oh, they're going to dominate, and then when they don't, you say, what's going on? They have these periods where it doesn't seem to work, and then they have the magical period where all at once everything works. And so I'll be interested to see. I don't think Skinner can go off again like she did against Stanford. So that's one thing that I think is going to be interesting. But Wisconsin, they've got their automatic, and when she hits that cross court cut shot every time, you almost have to position a person inside the 10-foot line to dig that thing because she is dynamic with it. I've never seen anybody hit that shot so many times inbounds and score, even when the other team knows it's coming. So it'll be interesting.
Well, Mick, I'm certainly looking forward to it. And so what Mick and I are going to do is we are going to save some of our juicy tidbits and our in-game analysis for our Thursday episode, which we will post on a live version of Six Rotations. We will be doing it from the coaches convention in Tampa. Very excited for that. So we'll do a deeper dive on these 4 teams, on these 2 matches on Thursday. We'll post it before the match. Don't you worry. I want to talk about a few of the NCAA tournament situations or non-D1 NCAA tournaments. And we'll start with this. Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time, UTEP will host Wichita State for the NIVC championship. Wichita State and UTEP have been just running rampant through teams. I think Wichita State's lost 1 set the entire tournament. UTEP, I think, beat Clemson in 4 in the Grade 8, and then swept South Florida yesterday. Wouldn't that have been something if USF had won and a team from Tampa was in the NIVC final? That would have been all. And we talked last week, right, how Jared Rudiger's thinking about moving the NIVC Final Four to the same place as the NCAA Final Four. That would be great because you get maybe the same kind of fan support, have them play the Saturday, right? Like there's so many opportunities now that you move that final to Sunday. So excited to watch that. UTEP will host in their sold out Memorial Gym. A few other notables. Cal State LA won the D2 championship, beating the defending champs West Texas A&M. It's Cal State LA's first volleyball title, and Indiana Wesleyan wins the NIAI title in 5 against Sioux City versus Northwestern College. And so that was an undefeated season for Indiana Wesleyan. So two great titles there for Cal State LA and Indiana Wesleyan.
Yeah, that would be something to have a volleyball what do you call it?
Like a mecca.
Lapapalooza, something
Yeah, like
like
a
that.
exactly.
You have all the teams coming to the same spot. Everybody could get a chance to see them in action. They could all be part of the convention. Wouldn't that be special? I think that would be something really special.
I really enjoy it. Well, Mick, I really enjoy kind of breaking down this in a little bit of a round robin rapid fire version. Is there anything else that you watched over the weekend that you want to touch on before we chat again on Thursday?
No, boy, I got my fill. I mean, it was just fun to not see one match where somebody wasn't prepared or didn't play. But I did have one observation. I've talked about this with Washington State and with Creighton. I've been high on them, and then I've been at all-time low when they haven't performed. I have a feeling I watched all the 8 teams that went to regionals, and I suspect that the teams that practice with the most intensity are the ones that perform best in this kind of competition, because teams that had either an easy schedule or don't practice, don't have 12 or 14 players where they're practicing really hard, have trouble maintaining the intensity from match to match to match. And that's an observation that's just a guess on my part. But I'm watching that, and I think the teams that are like Nebraska, I know the intensity of their practices. I know Wisconsin's intensity of their practices. The same with Louisville, the same with Pittsburgh, Texas. Those teams I know really go at it, and it's a big deal to win the game in practice. But I suspect that's one thing that the coaches are going to look at in the future, how we practice throughout the season, and if we can really go at it. I think that's going to make a difference getting into the Final Four and getting to the Final Four.
Well, you heard it from him. We are so excited to be in Tampa. Mick and I will be hosting the NCAA fan experience. If you bought a ticket to that, that'll be in the club level of the Amalie Arena before Thursday and Sunday's matches. We're excited to chat with former athletes and big names all week long, and just continue to give you guys the best feeling possible leading into what is going to be a warm Final Four. Mick, you don't need to bring the vest. No
No,
jacket.
I'll get rid of this. This is going to go away after today, man. It is a little chilly here today. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's check out the Tampa weather. We've got Thursday, high of 73, low of
Great.
62. Unbelievable. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, rain each day, which is expected in this sunshine state. High of 71, low of 63. It is going to be perfect weather when it's not raining. Cannot wait. Still not too late to go and buy your tickets online at ncaa.com or on other third-party sites. We're wrapping this one up. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Make sure to try to subscribe and check out the episode before you watch the semifinals. We've got Wisconsin, Texas in the night match, Nebraska-Pittsburgh in the first one. It is going to be great. Until Thursday, he's Mick. I'm Daniel, and this is Six Rotations.